Hi, it's Elaine and welcome to another Homespa Beauty podcast. Today I want to talk to you about managing your stress in lockdown. Now, stress manifests itself in so many different ways, and the last thing we want to do is have competitive stress. Sometimes people have competitive anxiety where they say, I'm more anxious than you, I've got more reason to be anxious than you. First and foremost, as I always say, it is not a competition. We're all living our own lives. We've all got our own stressors. We've all got our own triggers. And obviously, there are different situations that will trigger us because some of us will be key workers. Some of us might be out of work. Some might have lost jobs. Jobs might be paused. You might be in the house in a situation that is so foreign to you that it's really hard to adjust. Or hopefully you're managing to cope with everything as it comes along. But remember, life isn't a competition for coping. Certain things happen that take us by surprise. Sometimes we are able to immediately deal with it. Sometimes it takes us a bit of time to adjust. Just go easy on yourself. This is such a strange situation. Just be kind to yourself and be kind to others. Have a bit of patience with people. And if someone's really struggling, maybe you could pass some tips on to them. So, the first tip for managing stress in lockdown, it seems simple, but people forget. Talk. Now, you could be in a house full of people, but you actually don't really talk, or you don't listen to each other. Or maybe you're on your own, or there are only a few of you, and there are really days when you can go without chatting, especially if you are on your own. Don't wait for someone else to reach out. A lot of the time people will say, I didn't want to interrupt you, I didn't want to disturb you, I didn't think anyone would want to hear from me. But you could get into a situation which we all can be guilty of, where everybody is waiting for the other person to call. And even though it might not be at the front of someone's mind to phone you, they might be so happy to take your call. And likewise, if you're doing okay, but you think maybe someone who's at a certain stage in their life where they could do with a talk, and maybe you're thinking, do you know what? I should phone them, but you keep putting it off. Go ahead and be the one that makes the call. Even if it's someone that you don't really enjoy talking to, and I don't mean that in a negative way. Sometimes it can be a challenge because there's not a lot to talk about. You don't have a lot in common. It could be a family member where there might be issues. Sometimes when somebody's older, they can't hear you very well. Sometimes they don't really know what it is you're talking about. Other times it can be even something as simple as accents. Maybe in Scottish, the amount of times that people can't grasp what I'm saying and I have to modify my accent, but I still maintain reaching out and talking. No matter how you feel or no matter how the person reacts when you phone, as in, do they want to enter into a big conversation or do they keep it brief? You will still be glad that you were talking and you were speaking. My preference, obviously, is that you reach out to someone who you enjoy talking with. So when it's yourself and you need a lift or you just want to enjoy the chat, then pick someone who you thoroughly enjoy talking to. But if it's the flip side and you know that you've got to help someone else, then prepare yourself for that talk with someone who you know will feel thrilled that you took the time to think of them and you really make their day. And believe it or not, for both scenarios, you'll give yourself an endorphin boost and you'll be glad you did it. Another way to manage stress in lockdown that you might not think about, but it's so obvious, is check your breathing. When we are sitting for a long time, or we're stressed, or we're just being, absentmindedly sort of just falling into a trap of watching TV or reading magazines and books, we might not realise that we can begin to shallow breathe. And sometimes that's because it's time that we got up and stretched and moved our bodies. It could be because we're stressed and we're trying really hard to calm down, but we're not actually doing it properly. So we're shallow breathing and we're actually making the anxiety worse. Or it could be that you've just allowed yourself to become stagnant and the windows aren't open and you just need a boost of fresh air, movement. You just need a complete change of scenery. The breathing will come with that. So every so often, make a point of getting up, stretching, moving about, and consciously calming your breath and doing your slow, deep belly breathing. What you're doing there is you're resetting everything, and it will calm you down. It will get the balance back. It will clear your head. You'll feel energised, and it will do you a lot of good. If you find that difficult, find a podcast or a YouTube video and do some breathing techniques. And believe me, it works. Another way to manage your stress is to distract yourself. So, as we were saying, it can be very easy to become a bit of a couch potato, to absorb yourself in television, or even just be watching things but not really paying attention. And believe it or not, that is not relaxing and that will not be distracting you, because what can be happening is it can still be on your mind and it can be whizzing about in the background. What you've got to do is consciously distract yourself and give yourself something to do. Now, it could be a very simple task or it could be more into a hobby like a jigsaw. The simplest of distractions could be to make yourself something from scratch, be it a meal, a drink, anything as simple as that. As you'll see in my YouTube channel, baking cakes, that's a distraction, and the payoff at the end is that you've made a cake and you get to eat it, which is always a winner. You might want to distract yourself with something that you know takes a lot of time, or something that can be broken into manageable time. Maybe you want to search YouTube for recipes that you like the sound of and actually decide that you're going to have a go at making them this week. Get your ingredients in, make a plan, and decide that you are finally going to make those recipes. All those things that you've enjoyed making or eating for all these years, you're now going to make them. And a lot of people are doing their versions of your restaurant favourites, so now could be the perfect time to distract yourself, have a go, and you'll actually be learning new skills too. You can actually surprise yourself too if you start the book that's been sitting on the bookshelf on the table for months, if not years, and we're all guilty of that. Or you could get into a series online or on TV or a podcast series that you've always meant to, but it's been on your to-do list. You've never got round to it. But distracting yourself doesn't mean that you have to watch the full box set or listen to the full thing in one go. You can mix it up. What you're aiming to do is stimulate your brain, distract yourself from the stress, and you don't want to replace one rut with another, because I don't think it's good for anyone to sit and watch a full box set in one go. Yes, it's addictive, and yes, you might love it, but it's still not good for you, and you need to break it up with movement, exercise, and a change of scenery. But when you can do that, you can lose time, which means you will not be thinking of the stressors, and before you know it, you'll have actually distracted yourself for so many hours that you can prove to yourself that the stress doesn't own you and you are in control. Another one that you know is effective, and it's a favourite of mine, is meditation. If you are familiar with meditation, then you can go to an old favourite, or you can use the time to discover new ones. Maybe you're at that stage where you could try and meditate yourself and see if you can take yourself to that place, because it is possible to do your mindfulness and your meditation on your own. Maybe now's the time for that challenge. If not, there's so many ways that you can pick your chosen meditation, and as I say, you could discover lots of channels, visual or just through podcasts and audio. Exercise. There is so much to choose from. You can pick cardio to really get your heart rate up and get yourself moving. You can pick yoga for relaxation, stretching and energising. Maybe you just want to go a walk, still extremely effective and great for clearing your mind. The choice is yours, but remember, any exercise will help to boost your endorphins and you'll get that boost, the serotonin boost too, and that works wonders to help you to relax, to calm your system, calm your mind. You'll feel good and you'll sleep better. Now, another way to distract yourself is to always have a goal to look forward to. It doesn't matter what it is. Yes, we might not be going on holidays, we might not be going to the theatre or to festivals or to concerts, but you can still have goals. If you love that morning latte, and if you've been listening to me for a while, you know that I do, then you could use your coffee machine and really get to know it and start to experiment with different coffees. Challenge yourself, do your latte art, or even just look forward to actually making that drink in the morning from scratch. Maybe you're an instant kind of person and that's fine, but maybe your goal could be that you're going to buy a coffee machine and you're going to learn how to make the different styles of coffee. That's one of the simplest goals. But literally, goals to look forward to could be anything. It could be at the weekend, I'm going to do this and I'm going to enjoy it and I'm going to look forward to it. Maybe on Sunday, you're going to select something to watch that you know you love, your favourite film. You're going to make it a movie night. Maybe one day you're going to listen to your favourite album from start to finish. Just have a goal. It could be a listening party with friends. It could be quiz nights. You name it. Have that goal. Have something to look forward to. It's one of the best distraction techniques we have. Now this leads me on to another one, and it's a good one. Have a night out indoors. Now for me, I love a Friday night at the moment because there are so many people that are creating content to help us get through the lockdown. On a Friday night, I love to listen to Sophie Ellis-Bextor's Kitchen Disco on Instagram. She's live at 6:30. And then at 7 p.m, Chris Moyles, the DJ here in the UK, has a lockdown DJ set. On Saturdays, there is a Facebook Live from a brilliant DJ called Stephanie Hurst, and she does kitchen belters. And then on Sundays at 6 p.m, there's a very well-known DJ here in the UK, Gary Davis, and he has an 80s house party on the Sunday night. Now, before you know it, you've had 3 nights of partying in a row, all in the house. But people are commenting, they're sharing. It really does feel like a community and it's great fun. So have your night out indoors. You don't even need to speak to your friends. There are always people online and everyone gets involved, and I guarantee you it can be so much fun. Now, anyone that watches my YouTube channel will know that YouTube is a brilliant way to discover people. And you could use YouTube to distract yourself, to discover or even rediscover people that you've always enjoyed watching or always been interested in, or subjects that you want to know more about. There is a limitless amount to choose from. Maybe you love a show and you want to see interviews associated with the actors, or maybe you loved a show in the past and you haven't seen it for years. You could actually go on a little YouTube trail and discover anything associated with it, and before you know it, that could lead you to additional shows or people that you hadn't heard of that actually speak to you because they're completely within your interest zone. That could lead into music that you'd forgotten about, that you love, or bands that you might not even know, but you hear them and you like them immediately. Before you know it, you're relaxing, you're so engaged and you're learning. And because you're discovering a whole new area, it becomes something that's almost like a new hobby, and you are enjoying it, you want to learn more, and you can't be stressed when you're having fun. So think of YouTube as your personalised TV channel, and you can dip in and out whenever you want, and you can look for so many different things that are of interest and they will lead you down different paths. So that's just a few ways that I would help myself to manage my stress in lockdown, and it basically boils down to distraction. and helping to calm your system down. That's what it's all about. But let me know your thoughts. How do you manage your stress at this point in time? How do you distract yourself? As always, I'd love to hear from you. I'd love to know your thoughts. And there are many ways to get in touch. So please do. And as always, have a lovely day. And I'll see you again soon.